So welcome back to another episode of Sincerely Unmatched. This is episode 19, and we have Mike again back on the show. So thank you for your time, Mike, and hopefully it's a good one. It's a good one. It got to be a good one.
Hey, it's good to be back, guys. Plap's been bugging me to come back, so might as well do it. Might as well do it, man. It's so nice outside too, so I need to be out there barbecuing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I know. Every single day I tell Mike, "Hey, Mike, when are you coming back? When are you coming back for another episode?" So it's good. It's good to have you, Mike.
Yeah, man. Of course. And Plap knows, man. I'm working on taking the next step at work, so that's huge, man. So hopefully everything works out.
Congratulations.
God willing, so thanks, man.
Yeah, Plap. So take it away, brother.
We wanted to say again, like I told you, Mike and Alex, we talked about the book, and even there's some people at work that were kind of like asking me, "Hey, what book was it that you mentioned?" And I'll be like, "Oh, go back and listen to it." And it's one of the books that you had mentioned, Mike, which is The Laws of Leadership by John C
Maxwell.
And I've been reading it. I know, Alex, you said you've been reading it. And like I told you, Mike, and I'll say it again, on record, I'll say it again, how I really, really respect leadership skills. I know you're taking the next step at work to advance. I already feel like you already take that role as a leader. I don't know if you want to mention it here, but another role that's a next step other than being a supervisor. But I feel like you're already filling those shoes. Again, I'll tell you how when I'm reading the book, and each time I read even a paragraph, it just reminds me of you and your character, of how you're a good leader. And I'm not just saying this because I see you, because you're my boss, but because of as a friend and as how do I say it? Like someone that I look up to, you know.
I appreciate
along
that.
The way, of course, and hopefully along the way, I'm able to, fill in your shoes and we elevate each other, propel each other for the next level. So yeah, I really appreciate that, and it's good to inspire other people to get into the books because, like Alex knows, and I don't know if you know, but I used to hate reading, and now you guys got me into ordering books and reading books and trying to get to the next level mentally, not just physically but mentally and spiritually. So much appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a big reader myself, but within that interview, and I've told you a little bit, about it, Plap, like, the director, his main thing was, me telling him how I started my career off, right? And Walmart didn't have any kind of like development program, so to speak, or anything like that. And when I jumped into it, I was fairly new, so I had already was like, okay, well, YouTube leadership, YouTube communication, how you can do, things like that, conduct yourself in a, if it's a smaller group or larger group or whatever, things like that. Then picking up reading, Maxwell is probably my favorite, author, on leadership, and to this day, I think I still send Plap, motivational stuff in the mornings, on our way to work and stuff, so he has something to listen to. And it's to me, man, it's how to get better each and every day, right? Was faced with a challenge on Friday, and as a leader, you are going to be faced every single day, right? Like not having enough leaders to cover certain areas and things like that, and how don't show the frustrations. And I told Platt, I told you this, don't show it on your face. Inside everything is going crazy, right? But on the outside, it's Mike, don't ever seem stressed out, right? And don't ever have that look of, and I told you on the last time I was with you guys, if you show it, man, it's going to affect your employees big time, right? They may not go out and do everything 100% because they see you dragging feet, running around with your head cut off and stuff like that. But, kind of taking a deep breath, you can only control what you can control, really, right? And then it's just, kind of acting where you want to be, right? Like I obviously want to be, take the next step and be a manager, so act like it, right? If you're in the manager spot and you want to be an AD or assistant general manager, act like it. If you're an AGM or assistant director, act like a director, right? And that's the way I've been kind of viewing myself, trying to be, and trying to act, and with newer supervisors coming in again, and being the one that's possibly going to be training them and things like that. It's training them each the same way, right? Not thinking I'm better than they are. You know what I mean? And I think that's what a lot of leaders nowadays get the title and they think they don't have to do anything else. It's just that, and that's it.
Well, and that's good, because at the end of the day, it's about being a leader without the title. I was actually speaking to one of the managers at work. He's the one that interviewed me for the LDP program, and we were just talking how I didn't apply this year, and I just told him that I wanted to take a step back and I just wanted to observe kind of like my character, and I even though I see myself as a leader, I still have a lot of things to grow, and I still need to maintain a student. But how am I going to react to certain things? How am I going to take the pressure? Because it's all about pressure. You have to be in a lot of areas. You have to be not just accessible, but be accountable. Like you said, admit when you're wrong. Speaking facts and all of that. But he told me it's not about wanting to be a leader. It's knowing you are a leader, and kind of like you're a supervisor, but you know that you conduct yourself as like a manager. Conduct yourself like you said. Conduct yourself as what you're trying to do. Honestly, Mike, when you send me videos, it really encourages me to go to the next level. There's even times that I'm on YouTube, how to talk like a manager, how to speak in manager terms. Just how to send a professional email.
Right.
Because I don't know. There's times that I would even ask my brother, hey, so there's a lot of issues at work that I'm trying to resolve. How do I send emails? How do I be professional about it? He just search it up, look it up. He'll give me some pointers here and there, but then I'll go back and I look at some of the emails you guys send when I'm in it, and I'm like, okay, so I just want to be professional about it.
Email etiquette. That's what it is.
Yeah. Exactly, and I love how you conduct yourself. Like you're a great leader, and I just want to know. I mean, even though you conduct yourself like a manager, and even I feel like even beyond that, what is one thing that inspired you or made you want to go for that role? Like what I'm trying to
setting goals. You know what I mean? So, what I've been at the DC for, it'll be 4 years in August, right? So I made it a goal of mine. Within 5 years, I was going to be a manager. I'm literally like right there, right? It's, got the interview out of the way, and still pushing myself. Don't really need to know who else put in for it, and things like that. It's, just going in there and laying it all out to them, and kind of, in those things, you kind of want to, talk yourself up a little bit, right? Even though they may know a little bit about you already. I've been working with Greg for, over 3 years, so he knows my style. He knows how I am. Chris is just coming in, as the director, so we've had one-on-ones, but it was almost about an hour interview, man, and it was intense to me, and I've been in this business for 2 decades, but you see on the other side that they're actively taking notes and things like that. It kind of makes you like, it was intense. It really was intense, and I enjoyed it. I learned a lot about the director, more about Greg, and you go back talking about learning, right? And there's still room for me, to grow and to learn about everything, man. I don't know everything about leadership. I still study, everybody there, whether it's the manager, the AD, not just on our shift, but on other shifts when I come across them, how they carry themselves in certain situations, how they react to it. You want to be ahead of something that could possibly go wrong, right? And a lot of them wait till something happens and then react, right? But you want to be proactive and not reactive. So you kind of want to think about that first.
Some good stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's always room to grow, man.
Yeah, it's also pretty cool, Mike. One thing, I don't know if Pila mentioned this to you, but in one of our YouTube shorts, you're actually the most viewed short that we have on there. You have like over like 1,000 views or something.
Oh, let's go. When do I get my check?
Man, whenever the YouTube decides to give us a cut.
Where's it at? No, but that's pretty cool, man. And like I would never think that I was. This would be a career of mine, right? Like being in leadership.
Yeah.
Being able to talk about leadership, motivational stuff, and things like that. And it is pretty cool that y'all got a couple other people on the podcast too from work, and I think it again they heard I was on it, so they're like, oh man, cool. Why not do it? I was like, hey, why not? I mean, the more the merrier, right? Different views and how they went about their career and stuff like that. I mean, I think that's really, really cool, man. That's awesome that y'all are reaching out to more people.
Yeah, it's always quite interesting to see what steps people take and what type of trials and tribulations people go through to get to a certain position, because sometimes we look at people that don't necessarily have, as we mentioned time and time again, the title, right? Or they're not necessarily right in high places. But then you kind of appreciate them a little bit more, even though like they're not in those quote unquote high places, or what we would think like, oh shit, like it's just like, damn, bro, like you had to go through that much shit just to get there. It's like, I don't know, you kind of like in a way understand, or at least for me, like a quote that really stands out when I hear people's stories is like, give those people their flowers regardless of where they're at. Once you hear like the stories and the struggles that they've gone through, it's like, bro, like I feel you and I get you and I understand that, and it's just kind of like a little bit of an awakening to see that although sometimes people have a lower ranked position, I mean, sometimes you don't see like the work that it took to actually, get there. Like it's like sometimes we just overlook a lot of these people that have basic jobs in society, but we don't understand. Literally, some people had to claw and crawl their way into those positions.
Yeah, and some people go, I didn't go to school for business management or anything like that, right? I worked my way up from hourly and still just like I said, teaching myself things about leadership. And I tell Pedro this all the time, man. A title really don't mean anything to me, and we got different levels at at the DC. Whether you're a Soup 1 or a Soup 2, to me it's you're a Soup. That just ranges from different pay scale is all that is, right? But to me, I'm never gonna treat somebody that I know is below me or whatever, treat them like that, right? Because they're still a supervisor and they're still on the same level, so to speak, title wise, but it may not be money wise, but title, right? So, but if you're chasing it for the money, then I don't think leadership is for everybody. If that's all you're chasing is the money, granted, it's good, but are you doing it for that? Or are you doing it to make people better and to help them go as deep into their career as they can?
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to like what the book is. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it kind of reminded me when I had that conversation with Greg. I don't know if I mentioned this before on the podcast, but I was talking to Greg. He was on the floor and he was picking up, trash, and I told Greg, you don't have to. And Greg's like, no, I know, but I'm gonna do it. And I was like, that's really good leadership skills. And he's like, he just starts like laughing,
That's what I'm saying. Like no title it makes anybody any better than anybody else, right? Like if you walk past something that it's there, again, and an employee sees you doing that, being a leader, what does that tell them? He doesn't care. Why should I pick it up? So he's leading by example. He's doing what he preaches to us every single day.
Exactly. That's what I thought about too. And then I kind of like told him, I was like, Greg, like, because he told me one day, Platt, like, you can go for my, kind of like, in his own words, kind of like, oh, like, be a director. And I told him, like, hey, Greg, like, I want to get there. And he's like, take you a long time. And I think I did mention, because I was like, man, I'm ready, 5 years in. Because he said, order select, and it took him what, like 20 plus years. And I'm like, man, I'm like halfway, I'm not even halfway there, but but it really makes me appreciate those that are above me, what the work that they put in. Because honestly, Mike, like I see the work you put in at work, but you put in a lot more work than I see. You know, like I'm sure of that. And same with Alex. You guys put a lot of work that is necessarily not really seen, but you guys still put in the work regardless. You know, and that's something that we don't really get to thank you a lot or all of that when I feel like we should sometimes. You know, but
I mean, you and I don't know how Alex feels about it, but to me, I don't need to be told thank you or great job, or anything like that from like any of my superiors, so to speak, right? I know I do a good job. If they don't come to me and tell me like, hey, Mike, you need to fix this, or hey, why didn't you do this? If I don't hear that from them, then I'm like, okay, great, I did. I know I accomplished what I needed to for the day. So one thing that Greg had asked me, which kind of threw me off guard, but made me think like, when you leave work, what makes you feel accomplished? What during the day makes you feel like you accomplished something, right? To me, I'm just like, nobody got hurt. We finished our plan or close enough to it, right? We made the moves we needed to hit our building numbers, things like that. But it's and then thinking like, okay, what could we have possibly done, or I could have possibly done better, to maybe make it, I guess, just to make it, what am I trying to say? I feel accomplished when I leave work like every day, right? But still thinking like, what if, or what if I gave more to this, or what if we could have done this better, right? Because again, just like in leadership, and Alex knows, there's always room to grow, right, on everything. So even if we could run a big building number, push out such and such cases, right? But then again, it's like, what can we have done to push just a little bit more? And that's what I think about, like every single day, like coming home or even going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Same thing on this side. I believe when I do things, and sometimes if I go far and beyond of like what is expected, I mean, I don't really need a thank you, or I don't really need a gift card or anything like to tell me
Right.
like that you appreciate me, because of the fact that I always tell this to everybody that I work under. It's like, oh, can you cover me? Yeah, sure. Like I'll do whatever work it is that you are expecting of me. And since in our field, bro, like I work at a gym, right? It's really separated into a bunch of different classes. So it could be like circuit, strength, boxing, so forth and so forth. But I'll do it all, and I don't really care. And it's funny because then people will be like, oh, like, do you know how to do this? Yeah, bro, like, just let me do it, and I'll just take care of everything. And I mean, like everybody's like, oh yeah, that's a good job or whatever, but I don't necessarily need that pat on the back, because regardless,
Right.
it was gonna be something I was gonna do either way. So if I train my privates, for example, like those guys are gonna either get like a hit circuit, strength training session, or a boxing training. So it's something that I'm gonna do regardless. Same thing, like going back to like you like just simply picking up trash, right? Like a lot of people will kind of be like, "Oh, that's not my job," but it's just something that I'm gonna do regardless, right? Because if I'm at home and I see trash, what am I gonna do? Like I'm gonna pick it up,
Yeah.
because it's like part of my nature, and I don't need my mom to be
Mm-hmm.
telling me like, "Hey, thank you for picking up the
Right.
trash." Like, bro, I just pick it up because that's who I am. You get me? Like
Yeah.
I don't need a thank you.
No, you're right, and that's what I tell people at work too. Like treat your work area as if you were at home, and
Exactly.
surely a lot of them, what I see, man, hopefully their houses ain't like what I see, how they carry themselves at work. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
if so, then man, they don't have no pride. And I think that's what a lot of people need to do. I mean, it's a different generation, coming up. So, their pride or their work ethic surely ain't how ours is, right? So, and it's hard to break them from that, because we're not telling them to do anything more. We're just telling them to do their job, right? And then as a leader, how are you getting that message across to them so they're not feeling a certain way?
Mm-hmm. I feel like with this generation, you have to be like very precise on like what to expect from them, like every
Oh yeah, for
single
sure.
like second of the day.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost close to like kind of like micromanaging,
Yeah.
making sure that they do it. But granted, I'm lucky enough to have workers under me that you don't need to necessarily babysit them. You give them a task and you tell them what you expect, and surely they know. Well, hopefully people know that's underneath me that I will go and check regardless. It may not be the hour that I said I'm going to go back, but Plap can attest to it too, that I will go check on it. And because then it's my but because I got tasked to get somebody to do it, right? And always get the ones that I know will get it done, and not having to be like, man, where you at? Why is it taking you so long to do this? But giving them that respect, and I think that goes a long way to some employees too. And they feel that too, like, okay, well, he trusts me to get this done. And I think as leaders, that's what we have to, show our employees too, is, I'm giving this to you, giving this task to you, and then once you're done with this one, here's another one, and once you're done with this one, here's another one. That's just like how it is in leadership too. It's, a constant, like wheel turning, on everything. So.
Yeah, and like I told you, Mike, like there's times certain tasks, and I always tell you, like, thank you for I always tell you that thank you for trusting me. I'm gonna get the job done, and you always tell me, of course, I know you will. And to me, at least I try to, and everything that I do, I try to give it my 100%, and I try to learn. I might take a little, I might learn a little slower or whatever in certain areas, but like for sure, I'm gonna get it done regardless of what it is, whether it's a desk, whether I'm learning different things. Like I used to go in a little earlier just to learn from third shift, to learn from first shift, to learn from my brother. I'd ask everybody questions like, okay, how do you do this?
There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Or with rotators, like what's better with the rotators? Should I bring what could I do different? Right. Picking up the trash, doing the brief race. How do you do it to get it to where it flows? You know what I mean? Or doing counts. So what can I do different? Like Gustavo, and I already told Gustavo, and he would always tell me when I'm counting, get the tablet, it helps out. I get the tablet, I know what's going on. It's like being in the desk, but you have the tablet. You're learning what you know, be accessible, like teach. But to me, it's like I'm very hard on myself, and you know that, Mike and Alex. Like I'm very hard on myself because I love to learn, and one of the things is that I need to come to the level, or not to the level. I need to come to the sense where, like, I need to remain humble. That's one of the things, the hardest things, but remain humble. But to also like last time I was telling myself, like I was even talking to God, like God, like I'm over here saying I want to empower other people to become great leaders. But then when they get, certain opportunities, kind of feel a certain way, like, and then that's being hypocritical, and I shouldn't be like that. I'm speaking on myself, but it's all about, like, again, like learning and what can we do as a team to help the building out, and what can we do to help build each other and to another level, So,
again, like Alex said, man, you don't have to have that title, to be a leader. You don't every function, whatever field you're in or whatever. Like everybody has that strong employee or employees, that get the respect of their counterparts, right? That they can go to and ask questions and stuff like that. Because a lot of them don't like to go to leaders. They'll go to employees or their counterparts that have done the job for so X amount of years, and are passionate about doing it, and a lot of them feel comfortable with going and talking to them rather than a leader, right? And I think leadership has changed to where, I think leaders now, or I hope leaders now, and employee hourly do feel like, leaders are more accessible, right? And can, come up, and people come up to me every single day, when I'm at work, right? And, it's just stopping and listening to what they have to say, writing things down that they want or they need answers to, right? And just that alone, them seeing you whip out a small little spiral notebook, and writing down their name and what they want, man, goes a long way, and it's just that,
it's just
right.
It's scary. And that's what a leader is. It shows that you care for your people.
Right.
And I'm not just saying this because we're on here. I even told you one-on-one, and I'll tell you again. You really do care for your people.
And, I mean, we have to, because they're the reason that I'm successful, right? I'm not pushing cases. I'm not doing anything. I'm just leading them to make sure they're following their processes and what they have to do. Like I go back to writing something down. That's the first step, right? The second step is make sure you follow back up with them. If you just write it back and you don't follow up with them until like the next day or something like that, then they may respect you still a little bit, but just think about if you got back with them in a X amount of time, and they'll really be like, okay, so he didn't just write it down, to kind of play the looking good part, right? But he did really get back to me on something. So I think consistency and all that stuff is really key, and like, for a leader to go as far as he wants to go. Sky's the limit, man. Everywhere, anywhere you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically spot on. I think that, I mean, a lot of things that you said, it's pretty cool that it kind of like reconnects with the book that we're just reading. Although we only have read the first two chapters, I mean, the second chapter, I feel it's like a really big one because it was like the law of influence, and it's just basically everything that we're talking about right now, and just about how, what do you call it? How there's leaders out there without any type of like what do you call it, like title, and how people will I don't want to say blindly follow them, but they'll follow them for a reason, right? Because of like the way that they carry themselves, who they are, their morals, their ethics, everything that we talked about beforehand. So it's just interesting to hear kind of like how some of these thoughts in these books go back to a lot of things that you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I've read that book, a few times. It's, I'll try other books, but it's always that one that I go to that kind of makes me like, I guess, hit the refresh button, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just start all over again, kind of, so to speak, because, as a leader, you got so much going on in your head, every single day, but reading something like that kind of flushes everything else out, and you're just like, okay, now I could think a little bit more clearer now, right? So
Yeah, like one of the big things that like came up was, of course, in the second chapter, like how there's misconceptions in leadership, right? So it talked about like fame, it talked about knowledge, right? It talked about a bunch of different things that you think like you think from like a society standpoint that those things would make a leader, right? But then it gives out like perfect examples, like how there's people like in Harvard or like really prestigious schools, and nobody really like listens to them, or no, they don't really have a big following, right? Or sometimes you'll see like some of these people that are like high off fame, and they'll be there for a little bit, and then people just kind of like forget about them. But I think like the most interesting thing though was, of course, the title one, right? Like, and it just kind of reminded me. I mean, I vaguely remember it. I don't remember it too well in detail, but it talked about how when Napoleon was what do you call it, exiled from, I believe, France, right? Like how basically the French what is it, monarch basically told his men to basically go kill Napoleon, right? Under whatever new general. And it's funny because like they didn't touch him. When he told everyone to stop, is like he stopped even without like the title in itself, just like the experience and the knowledge, like just like the book touches upon, is like people will follow you basically, even if you don't necessarily have the title, whether it be like at the current moment or in general.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. I mean, it's changes kind of test leaders, right?
Yeah.
We got a new director that came into our building, and he's 100 miles an hour.
Damn.
But his expectations are what we already know, right? Yeah. But he just goes at it a different way, which is fine. I mean, you're either going to break or you're going to jump on board and go along with what he wants done. And a lot of people may look elsewhere just because of the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough, man. You have to have you just have to be open to everything, I guess.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first two chapters. We've started on the law of lit, and then the law of what is it, the law of influence, bro. Like they've been pretty interesting, man. Pretty interesting chapters. I wonder how much PLAP retained information wise.
Yeah, right. With him, who knows if he retained anything, but we could ask him when he comes back. I don't know if he's having technical difficulties.
Yeah, he's just jumping in and out.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? That's why I told him he needs to get his computer fixed.
Why are you judging?
Well, you're jumping in and out, bro. We're having a good conversation. You're going in and out.
This guy thinks it's a tag team match.
Right.
My bad, guys.
No, you're good. No, Alex was just wondering how much you retained from the book so far.
Me, I'm gonna be honest. I only got to the first chapter, but from what I got,
well, Alex is on his way.
Hey,
we said chapter 2 by the end of the week, brother.
Two chapters in pipe. Like I just got done with one.
Hey, by the end of the week, though, I'm gonna finish chapter 2 today. But from what I got from it is, like I said, from the little bit that I read, obviously, all those laws that even if you pick up one law, like that makes you a better leader than not having any laws, right? Like you gotta apply them though. Like you could just read the laws, but are you applying them to become a better leader, right? So that's kind of like what I got from it, like. But yeah, that's all I got from it.
It gets intense.
What did you get? Hey, what did you get from chapter 1 though?
Hey, bro, putting me on the spot.
Hey, you said you read chapter 1, bro.
I'm waiting for him to open it up in front of him.
Here, I have it right here, brother.
See, look. Man, you still got it in the plastic.
It's open.
So what did you? Hey, without looking at the book, what did you think about chapter 1 then?
Well, I can't. I don't know, man.
You ain't hiding nothing from me, bro.
Huh?
So you ain't hiding nothing from me.
Oh no, I know. I don't have nothing to hide.
Yeah, bro. So just chapter 1 was basically just talking about the law of lit and basically the effectiveness of like how much leadership is like important to like somebody that has like a big vision, bro, and like if you could take it far and beyond that. So a lot of it was on McDonald's, bro, like how basically they started up their franchise and they didn't really know how to take it to the next level. So they ended up getting, I believe his name was Ray Kroc, and he was a businessman that made a bunch of like little changes, sacrificed a lot of stuff, and eventually took their vision to be what we now call in sociology, bro, they call it the McDonaldization, meaning like now they're able to take McDonald's and basically put them like on every corner, basically, kind of like how there's Whataburgers over there in Texas. So that's basically what it was. And then towards the end of the chapter, he talked to, what was his name? Don Stevenson, I believe. He's like a businessman as well. And he talked about like how, he talked about how when he comes in, like literally like the first person's head who he chops off would be the leader, right? Like the person that's managing the business, because of the fact that if they called him, right, or like they basically brought him in, was because of the fact that like the leader wasn't doing his job. So who goes first? The head. So that was basically what the law of the lid was basically talking about. You gotta get to it, P-Lab.
That's good. Hey, accountability. No, that's good.
Heck yeah. Read the book. Don't let it be a weight.
Yeah, don't let it sit dust, bro. And then chapter 2 is just basically talking about a bunch of different little topics and themes and little areas of life, bro, such as, like I mentioned, fame, knowledge, and it just kind of gives you a little bit of an examples of how, like, those in itself are not really things that will actually help you lead, bro, because, as I was telling Mike before you jumped out, is like, for example, I talked about, like, fame, right? How, like, people think that just because you have, like, a status, bro, like, you think that people are going to follow you, but then you have, like, these people that are only there in the limelight for, like, you know, like what we call their 5 seconds of fame. And I talked about, like, knowledge, too, how, like, that in itself is not even like a good basis of like leadership, because of the fact that there's so many smart people, bro, like for example like in prestigious schools like Harvard and all those basically top educational like institutions, and like people don't follow them, bro, and just basically just touched upon like little different factors that you think would be like the sole reason to follow somebody, but in theory, it's really not.
I mean, it gets deeper too, man. It gets, if y'all are impressed with the first, well, Alex, if you're impressed with the first 2 chapters, just wait till and I advise, man, y'all do like the little, the activities and stuff that they have.
Yeah.
I think there was like a point system on some of them or whatever. It kind of, it from the very first time I read that book to the second time, you can see like the change in your leadership. If you're going where you need to be or if you're staying the same, whatever. But it like you said, Plap, it makes you stay humble. Kind of like where you are, and I think that's the key, man. Is no matter how far you go or intend to go, but staying humble, man, I think is key. It's really key because you don't ever want to let success get to your head, and then treat others like they're nobody.
That's good because I mean you really can't forget where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that there's times where I even went to LA a couple years ago and it got worse, right, with the homeless and everything.
Yeah.
I went back and it made me feel really bad. I'm just like, man, like there's times I take the house that I'm living in or the truck that I drive or whatever, like, man, even the food, man, or whatever, I'm just like, it makes me even grateful to be where I'm at and being in the position that I'm at, but also being in the position of being able to learn, having that freedom to learn,
Mm-hmm.
Also, like with the thing of like people, this generation that they don't really want to learn or they just want a quick buck, right?
Yeah.
Like what can we do to like they're the next generation, man. Like what can we do to I even talk to these people, these kids they're 19, 18, 20 at work and I tell them like, this is how I would stack. So they were like, oh, I heard you're a fast order selector, and I just told them, look, I know they train you a certain way. I can teach you how I did it, but everybody has their own way to do it,
right.
And obviously the correct way.
Oh
yeah. No, like I was saying, no.
Yeah, I don't need a webcam, bro. I don't need a webcam. I'm good.
Like I'm saying, like there's no really job too easy, because there's certain people that will say, oh, you have it easy, but then they try the job that I'm doing. It's like, man, I didn't know it was hard. And I'm gonna be honest, I was one of those people that would be like, man, he has it easy, but then I'll do it. I'm just like, man, like there's just so much to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Just to like put my hands on, like, man, I want to do this, I want to try it, I want to do this, I want to try it. Even being technical with work, with the short desk,
yeah,
it's a lot that goes on. People think it's easy. And even Gustavo was like, I thought it was easy, and I tried it. I'm just like, man, it's mind blowing.
Different.
You want to learn in different areas.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the one thing, too, like in leadership, man, like going through is, the first thing a lot of them do is assume things, right? If you see somebody like just looks like he ain't doing nothing, don't assume he's not doing anything. Go ask him like what's going on, right? And I think that's where disconnect is, and how it could be hourly versus leader, right? Because we assume they're not doing their job or they're just sitting there talking or whatever. But why? If you see two people talking to somebody, are they BSing or are they one of them asking the other one, how do they do a certain thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that just don't assume the worst on anything. Just kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, and that's what we were taught. At the DC, man, is don't assume. Just go and see what's going on, basically.
That's good.
Yeah, Golden State just beat the Kings.
All right. Game 7?
Yeah, Curry dropped 50.
Damn.
Yeah. So just like the last podcast, I was watching basketball. This one I'm watching playoff basketball too. So.
Last time you were watching March Madness, right?
In March Madness, yep. Yeah. Dang, it's been March since I've been on with y'all, and it's almost May. Almost May, but wow.
Who do you have winning it all?
Man, I don't even. My Spurs are out of it, so I really don't care. I really don't care, man. The Spurs ain't gonna be there in forever, so.
Shit.
But it's whatever. But yeah, man, it's like I was telling Pat, during my interview on Friday, we had a little project that we had to do last Friday, not this past Friday, but the Friday after, and it was kind of like moving different zones around, and it was me and like 5 other 5-hour leads and stuff, and my boss was asking me like, so how did I convey the message to them on how what we were going to do, right? So I was like, it just got the 5 of them together and kind of broke down like, this is what we're going to do, and then kind of opened it up to them, and I was like, okay, so what do y'all think? What should be our next thing, right? Because I could have just sat there and been like, move this here, move this here, move this there, move this there, but I wasn't in no work clothes. I had jeans on and I think a Dollar General Under Armour shirt, so I was in there with them getting dirty, cleaning, and all that stuff. So didn't tell them like how long we have. I just told them we don't need to be there all day, doing it, and giving them the buy-in, and I think that's what helped too, because they had the ideas, and they were the ones that said that set it up the way it was and how it looked when we got done, and Clap, I don't know if I told you, but those pictures went all the way to corporate.
Wow.
And they saw like what y'all did, right? And I didn't take credit for it. I was like, I was there. I was the leader on shift, but I had five employees that busted their tail. We had fun doing it. And I think that's what it's about too.
And what's crazy and cool is that you were in there, like you said, you were in there doing the same amount of work as we were doing, putting your hands in the labor,
Yeah, like I said, I could have just sat there and pointed y'all, to do everything. I mean, I could have done that, but just sat on a cart and just said, no, move this over there. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna get in there because, again, I didn't want y'all to be there all night. I had to be there to, do what was needed after the end of the inventory and stuff like that. But, I mean, that's what I get paid to do. I know most of y'all would have probably stayed all night, but on my side, I couldn't keep y'all all night. So.
And you know me, I would have stayed all night too.
Oh yeah, I know. But it's it was a good feeling, to take on that project. And I wasn't, asked. They asked for volunteers, and I'm just like, if I do it, I want to handpick my team, and that's basically what I did, right? So once that, again, we were talking about, micromanaging and things like that, and with the group that I had, I didn't have to do it. Just kind of gave them the direction, and went by and checked to see if they were okay. Clap was doing, him and another guy were all doing something else, and he kept me in the loop, and that's what it's all about. Just communicate and make sure everybody's doing what they need to do, and that's pretty much it, man. And that's like what being a leader is, just making sure everybody is following what they need to do. I mean, we know we're gonna have employees that's gonna talk and this and that or whatever, right? But in the end, we're there to do a job, and that's what you guys got breaks for. And again, that breaks, you don't want to talk, you want to eat. So it's like, pick your poison, whatever you want to
do. Yeah.
How many people did you have to pick on your team?
I just had 5.
And would those be the same 5-on-5 that you would basically take to the court, though?
No. Maybe one.
Maybe one.
Other one would be cheering, probably.
P-Lab's trying to dunk.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was cool though, man. It was. Hopefully they had a good time doing it too.
Yeah.
I've been a part of like projects, a lot of projects and stuff, and at first it can seem like it's chaos, but what did I tell you, Platt? Make sure it's an organized chaos. That you know what's going on. It could be chaotic, but and not know what's going on. But if it's organized, then you know what's down the line, like how it's going to look, right? So, and that's pretty much how we said it.
And it's crazy you say that because I know you told me that organized chaos, and I thought about that when I was at the desk. I was like, okay, I need to make sure that it's organized. Mm-hmm. So even if whoever comes up, it's at least the shorts are in the box, and
right.
Shortly enough, Greg came and he's like, hey, we saw our our shorts, and kind of explained to him, And then even when I was doing rotainers, I was like, okay, the meeting, I need to make sure at least I get what I can, and make sure it's clean up there in the front, and it's clean up here by the baser, and then I should be good. And then at least I leave them organized, chaotic but organized, and I learned that from you. And it's a really good tip to have, it's really good.
Yeah, because things can get chaotic quick, man. So you just gotta, kind of think about if it does, like, how you're gonna reel it all back into. You're just gonna let it bonfire out, or you're just gonna kind of extinguish what you can. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the big projects, it's always really chaotic at the beginning, just because you don't really know kind of like what to expect. But as soon as like everybody starts playing the role, I think that it just kind of like flows pretty naturally, pretty quickly. But it just like the start, I feel like it's always like very rocky when you're starting to take on like big
Right.
projects.
Oh yeah, because it could be a mess, at the start. But once it's I think it's also who the leader is there too. Like if they know what they're talking about, and just not like, I don't know, man, we're just gonna move all this stuff over there, and then we'll figure out what's gonna go on here. But if you kind of lay out the plan, and then just let the employees kind of put in their input and stuff like that, then I think it makes it fun.
Yeah, and it also makes it fun when you get to choose who's on your team, though.
For real. You have to put years in first, like think until they can respect you to put in, bring who you want and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to open it up to the whole warehouse because I ain't trying to babysit all night.
True.
So I just want to pick who I know will come in and just
do the work.
It and, get it done as fast as they can too. So yeah, we did.
What were you gonna say, Pedro?
Perhaps having technical difficulties.
Really? Well, you can't hear me or what?
No, you were cutting off.
Yeah, you were cutting off like you were on Cricket. Cricket service. Cricket internet.
I was just saying that I was honored to do the project, but also to know the goal, to know what I'm going into, to have a plan, to execute, and to you have a vision, and you want to make sure you execute that vision. And it's pretty cool that corporate was able to see those pictures and see the work that we all put in,
That's what I'm saying, man. I never like, I could be, be a leader and be like, I did this.
Yeah.
But it was like, me and a handpicked group, did this, and a certain amount of hours, and this is what we accomplished, and they should be proud of what they did, and it just shows how much pride we take in it too, So y'all knew, my expectations without me telling you, right? And if you're like me, I have really bad OCD. So if something's out of place, I have to fix it right then and there.
Yeah.
And it just, even when I'm walking like end of shift and I'm walking, and I see something out of place, I feel like I have to fix it. Because it's like my shift's not over, even though my people are out, but my shift's not over until I walk out the doors. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. So you just got to take pride in, in everything that you do each and every single day. Yep. Whether it's at home or your job or, anything, do it to the best of your abilities.
Yeah, most people will appreciate the fact that you actually put effort into your work. I mean, of course, like my line of work is a little bit different from you guys', but I mean, even on days where I have to, or I'm not really feeling so well, I'm a little bit tired or lethargic or whatever it is that I may be feeling.
Yeah.
Like I always try to give people like the best energy that I possibly can. I'm like, bro, like I'm only here for like 50 seconds each session. I mean, 50 minutes each session. So I should be able to like at least manage the game and then take a little break for like half an hour, right, or so, and then wait for the next class. And it's funny because like most people will appreciate that, and most people don't really see like, oh yeah, like this dude might be having problems, or this dude might not be in the best mindset at the moment. But just the fact that you're able to kind of like, I don't know, like shower people with like good energy. I mean, they kind of like reciprocate it back in somewhat of the same fashion, right? Because I mean, you will have sometimes instances. I mean, I think it's in every workplace where you're trying to give good energy, but the person that you're trying to give good energy to is not really cooperating, and it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I mean, shoot, that's like, seems like that's every single day.
Yeah.
And you have to, like on nights, you have to have energy because nobody really wants to work overnight. But like you said, like, man, I'm there at between 4 and 4:15 every single day, and I leave at about 5:45, 6 o'clock. So, I mean, I put in the hours, but that's not like to make anybody else look bad. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
You said, Platt, you like to get there early to ask about certain things. I like to get there early so that my team's not blindsided by certain things too. So I can, be like, okay, this is what we're facing today. Right? And I think that's where, any kind of, distribution or whatever business is. I think if you have communication throughout, the whole building across all shifts with the leaders, like what they faced each day and stuff like that, I think will, helps out in the long run. And I mean, we're struggling, at our DC with that, but, it's once they see like, hey, being transparent with the employees and this is what they faced on first shift. So let's keep an eye on it on our shift, kind of get ahead of it. Right. And if we don't face that problem, at least we knew about it, and we may not have had to deal with it, but at least it was out there in their head. Like, okay, this is what, they told us that could possibly happen. Right. So I think just being transparent on that aspect and not just keeping everything inside is really, really key.
Like, no, and I agree. I feel like, I mean, I go early because, I mean, if I'm needed in anything, whether it's to go into the desk or to go and recycling, whatever it is, I just like to be there early because, like I told you, Mike, like I have your back, and I really do. And the whole building too. Like I want to make sure that when I'm in the building, if something needs to get done, if nobody wants to do it, I'm gonna do it. That's just my mindset. My mindset is like, I have to do it regardless of how I feel or whatever. Because one of the things that I need to be rid of is always being, you can say, my feelings. I'm gonna let that part of me grow, and also being able to take the hit of being accountable. And not just being on top, but being accountable and knowing what needs to get done and do it regardless of feeling or whatever. Anywhere, like you said, at home or at work, at work we need to get the job done and we need to get it done. And knowing what's going on, like what is first, what was their mistake? Like you said, what was the things the issues that they were facing that maybe we can fix. So when they come in, it's already fixed. Or whatever we had with, we could pass it along and send emails like we always do. It's all about being having a professional conversation. Like passing it along, passing the baton. Like, hey,
and that's all it is.
Or even just or just even giving advice or whatever on growth.
I mean, when people think about, I need to hold that person accountable, they think what? Negative right away, right? Yeah. But it's really not a negative thing. It's there to make you like understand what you did and to get better. Exactly. And I think that's what's hard, man. It's you get called by your boss, to like a desk or office or something like that. Right away, they think they're in trouble, but it could just be I'm holding a conversation with you. I want to see what's going on, but what I was taught in my career, man, thus far is, if even if it is just a one-on-one, you're just, wanting to ask how they're doing and things like that, you kind of want to do it in not in a public setting, but private, right? Because a lot of people do think, okay, there's an employee, there's a leader, so that employee's right away getting in trouble. What did I talk about before? Assuming. And that's what a lot of people assume, is that they're getting written up or things like that. So if you have the opportunity to take them to like a private area, outside where employees can't see, I mean, that's always like the best practice to use or whatever. And because you don't want that, warehouses, every warehouse I've been through, man, rumors go crazy. Like fast. So it's like
every job.
Everywhere, bro. So it's like you just walk by and it's right away I jumped on somebody, and so it's like no, that wasn't even the case. I just said hi to the guy.
I remember one time I went on vacation for a week, and I had friends on my social media at work, and I came back. Yeah, we heard you got fired. I was like, bro,
right?
I went on vacation. Oh, that's what I heard, bro.
Right.
you know, the whole warehouse knew. And I'm like, whatever.
I mean, you know, and it's going to happen, man. You can't do nothing about that. It is what it is. But you know, if you're looking at getting into, you know, leadership or whatever, it's, you know, just like certain things like that you know will help you in the long run, I guess. You know, and not have to hear those, you know, people talking and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think rumors and gossips are in every fucking field, man. Like, there's some people
everywhere.
that you just want to get off your back, bro. It's like, bro, get
it,
away from me.
Yeah, can't do nothing about it. You don't. I mean, you know. Ultimately, you're the one that knows like what's going on, pretty much. You know, everybody else is gonna talk what they want to talk, and I mean, ain't nothing you can do about it. Just have thick skin. That's basically it. You know, that's all we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
What y'all got for me before I have to head on out and...
What do you got, Pilap? Kind of just lost in the word.
Man, I talk to him every single day.
I know, right?
I think I'm tired of talking to Platt. I think I'm tired of talking to him.
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not, bro.
No, I know.
Nah, man, just... Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead on it.
All right. Yeah, just going back to the book, bro. Basically, do you like recommend us to do, like, you know, like you mentioned, there's activities at the end of the chapters that basically tells you down, like, to jot things down. Do you think it'd be more ideal to do it as we're going along with the book, or do you think like it just be like pretty cool, like just to see it all in like one piece of paper or in a bunch of piece of paper like laid out as we finish the book?
So I think I've showed Platt like my book, man. I got sticky notes. I highlighted certain things. You know, I got stuff written down in there. I write notes. So when it comes up to the point where it asks you to do an activity, I usually do it right then and there.
Okay.
Right? And then to kind of keep you fresh and keeps you thinking. Because if you go through a whole chapter, right, and then you probably just wanted to keep. Because me, man, I wanted to keep reading.
Yeah, same.
So that's why I'm just like, okay, if it tells me to do this activity, I'm gonna go ahead and stop and do it, because I'm not gonna go back.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to keep going and keep going. So, and plus, it gives you a break, right? It gives you a little bit of break, even though and then I think once you do the activity and, you know, you do it, you find your scores or read about what you came up with, man, that's going to drive you to even read more.
Yeah.
You know, because then you want to see what the next activity is or whatever, and see how you rank and stuff like that. But, you know, when you guys are doing these activities, man, you got to take it with a grain of salt too. It kind of makes you check yourself a little bit. It does. You know, some of it could be, you know, hurtful, but then it's like, again, it's just making you feel, you know, making you get better. That's all it is. And like I said, when I went back through and did it again, I saw like a change in my leadership skills. You know, so it'll open your eyes. But I say if you guys can do it right then and there, do it right then and there.
Yeah, because I was just wondering, because it does have like a whole page of like activities at the end of each chapter. I'm like, man, should I do it right now, or should I just wait till I finish the book? Because right now, since we're just taking it slow, we're just trying to read like 2 chapters a week, which I believe is like, it's quite a slow pace for me, at least. It's it's like, I don't know if I should just kind of like go through the book and then come back.
I mean, the chapters aren't long.
Yeah, they're like about like
they're
10
not
pages
long at all. So if you want to do, you know, a couple, like go on your couple chapters or whatever, and then go back, I mean, you'll know that there's an activity that you missed. You know what I mean? Like, instead of if one chapter is like 100 or so pages, like you're not going to go back and do it. So, I mean, it's totally up to you guys. If your whole thing is, you know, 2 chapters, you know, it'd be cool to hold each other accountable. Go back and do, you know, do the activities, and you know, Pat, what did you have on yours, and Alex, what did you have on yours, and kind of see how y'all are different or the same. I mean, I think that'll be cool too.
Yeah, because right now, like, literally, I just went through like each chapters and just highlighted things that I feel like would be essential, right? Like,
man, and they even, you know, in the book where it has it kind of raised off to the side in a quote, you know, that catches your eye, but I still highlight it. You know what I mean? Because it's crazy, man. And I just like say a couple of those quotes in my head, like, you know, just to keep it there or whatever, and it's just kind of like, man. And there's times where I'll just put the book up and I'm like, that was pretty damn deep. So let me go outside for a little bit and just
and reflect.
Just go right back into it, right? Oh yeah, for sure, bro, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you do that, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? There's nothing wrong with it, because, you know, me doing it for as long as I have, man, I'm like I said, it still makes me like, damn.
Yeah.
Am I that kind of leader, or kind of makes you self-assess yourself, make you self-assess like, man, is that me? Am I that way, or what can I possibly change?
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm not a bad leader. Like I said, people, I feel they feel comfortable coming up to me and talk to me about, anything and everything, and that's fine. They think they're bothering, but there's not really a bother, right? We're there to help them, get through what they have going on. Granted, I'm no therapist or anything like that. I can only help so much, but it's just knowing that they have somebody there to talk to is always key. And I think that book is like I said, one of my favorite ones, man. It's huge. It's huge. It's a huge win for y'all, man. If y'all get through it, it's gonna open.
We will get through it, huh, P-Lap?
Well, man, I don't know. How long have you had the book?
Hey, you're holding me accountable. It hurts, but it's good though.
I'm gonna go back through our text, Flap, and see when you bought this book. I don't know if you really want me to do that though.
No, don't do that.
You know what's funny? I actually ordered the book, right? And I thought that I was getting the exact fucking book, and they gave me John C Maxwell's 21 Laws of Leadership in the Bible, which was a freaking it was a fill in the blank book. I'm like, bro, what?
What? You're like, man, Phil, you should have filled it in and then read it out loud and see if it made sense.
I was like, man, what is this book? And I got it for like $5. I'm like, damn. Plus like shipping and handling.
We've been like, ain't no way his book is $5.
No,
because you had to fill in the rest of it.
This is the crazy part. The actual book was only $1, $1.98.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I got it from the website's called Albris, ALBRIS, and I got it for $1.98. The shipping was more expensive than the book.
Oh dang! You could have bought 4 books. That's wild.
Yeah.
Y'all are awesome, man. I always enjoy coming on with you guys.
Same.
So, anything you want to say, Pilat, before we close the show?
Nah, just wanted to say, again, thank you for being a part of the episode, and I learned a lot from you today.
Let's get the 5,000 views.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's go. Everybody's gonna cash a check.
Yeah.
But
then we'll go put it to Platt to get a new laptop.
To update his software.
Yeah, Platt Fun.
Platt Fun me.
Mic over on his left side. He's got a high end mic, and he's using his iPhone. Hey, I already told him. But mine's only $100 that I'm using.
Damn.
And it looks good, bro.
And I gave him a link, Alex, to buy one. Here you go, $100.
$100.
Yes, I got it. Though when I get the check from the podcast, I'll buy one. I just want to say thank you for. I know, Mike, you're out there smoking the ribs and everything.
Got that right.
Hell yeah.
And take some to work so I can take some.
Bring some our way.
I'll send Plap a picture.
All right.
Send it to you.
Look, this is what it's teasing with.
Yeah.
Nah, but for always obviously keeping me accountable at work, and Alex for keeping me accountable as well, like through our
We got to, man. We got to.
So thank you, for again for the trust and for your time. I know, Alex, your time is valuable. Same as yours, Mike, and it was just really fun to have you on to learn and just to hear what you guys have going on. It's always good, and thank you guys for both being accessible.
Yeah.
To me, So I don't take that too hard.
Like I said, next time y'all want me on, we can either shoot it like this, or we can, y'all could think of kind of like a rundown on what y'all wanted to do. But I always like getting on and just shooting it, right? Yeah. Just feeding off of each other and things like that. Because, I think that's kind of what makes it more authentic. Mm-hmm. When you're not going down like a certain topics and stuff like that, right? Like you're just, we could talk and then, pick up on something, y'all do really well with is, like, okay, so you said this, things like that, right? Like just asking each other questions and stuff. So it's totally up to y'all, man. I like just coming on and just being transparent with you guys and being real with y'all. And Alex, like I tell you, man, it's what you see, with me and hear from me right now is basically how I am at work, like every single day, every single day. So I'm not coming on and trying to be anybody different, and that's what's good to have, Clap on too, because he can attest to it. He every single day, man, he interacts with me and he sees me interacting and how I am with employees too. And it's no title is going to change who I am and who I've been. That's probably the last thing I'm going to say. I'm never going to let that happen. And if so, hopefully somebody is has enough strength to tell me, like, hey bro, you've changed.
Wow.
Because that's the one thing I don't want to hear is that I've changed, because man, you were so different when you were a supervisor. Now you're a manager, and now you're this, right?
Yeah.
Never once do I want that, and that's like you said, Platt, being humble and remember where you came from.
Yeah.
Always going to be an order selector at heart, man. That's what I started my career back at Walmart through Dollar General, and then I went into leadership. So it's always going to be there, man. I can attest to what the employees go through every single day because I do that job.
And what's good too is, now that you say that, it's always good to have those people, again, with accountability. It's always good to have those people that let you know, hey, you're slacking off, or hey, like you said, you're changing, or hey, what's going on, or hey, you do this again, or hey, you know what I mean? To keep you not in check, but to keep you on the right track, to keep you going forward,
right,
not backward.
And you have to have thick skin, man, and everything. You have to have thick skin. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. Because if you take everything to heart, man, you ain't going to get nowhere. You're just going to live a miserable life.
Yeah,
if you're worried about what somebody says and how they say it, right? So, and don't wear your emotions on the outside, man. Keep them on the inside. Everybody's going through something every single day. Go in and my whole thing is, once you hit those doors, whatever job you're in, man, you leave everything else on the outside. Sure. Go in, do your job, do it to the best of your abilities. Once you leave that, then deal with what you got to deal with, because your actions are going to take over everybody else in there. It takes one person, one bad seed to make everybody else, to bring the whole team down.
Wow.
Same way in leadership, man. If one leader is acting a certain way, the morale just goes down, and it just makes everybody feel like, man, why is he here? Or why are they here? Right? If they're going to be like that, then just, all they are now is just a bump in the road. Like, get out of my way. So everybody's going through something, man. Nobody has a perfect life. Nobody does. So that's all I could say, man. Take everything with a grain of salt. Go in and give your best every single day. Wake up. Thank God. Lived another day.
That's good.
Go out and prove your doubters wrong. Because, we all have doubters, so that's all you can do. And to me, all that does to me, man, it just fuels my fire to do what I'm doing. Or trying to do, anyways. So you have to roll with it.
All right.
Yeah. So
thank you for that advice.
Yeah. Of course.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for your authenticity. And as always, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're 100% the way that you are on here, with everybody that's around you in your workplace and your family, and all the people probably really enjoy your good energy. So I just kind of want to thank you for bringing that good energy onto this podcast. And it's just always also pretty cool to now like be reading this book that you actually recommended, and just seeing like the elements or the key elements that you take and that you actually apply to your role in life.
And that's key. Yep. And that's key, Alex. Like you said, don't just take what you're reading, just that, like, use it in your own life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it don't even have to be at your job, just in your,
day to day
with your kids, if you have kids. Yeah, anything, right? You're right. Like, just, things like that. And once y'all are done with that one, I have another one for you guys, too. So it's just a lot of good ones, man.
Yeah.
And
keep them coming.
Yeah.
Let me catch up. Let me catch up.
I was going to say, Plaps rate, man, there might be a few more books out that he's going to be reading the rest of his life. But I really enjoyed it, guys. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so close it off, Pilar.
Thank you. Likewise.
Close it off, Pilar. Last one.
Well, yeah, see, I was going to say, if there's any last words you wanted to say, Mike, and you really said it perfectly. If you want to say something else, or is that it?
Any piece of advice?
Stay humble, and like I said, man, wake up and know you're gonna, whatever you're facing, man, just go in and give it your all every single day. That's basically it, man. Just give it your all every single day. You don't have to have bad energy, man. That just feeds off on everybody else, and It's just gonna make your day a little bit longer than what it already could be. Right?
Exactly. Well, yeah.
All right, guys.
Well, thank you guys for listening to another episode of Sincerely Unmatched with my co-host Alex and our guest Michael. Thank you again.
Let's go. Let's
try to hit those 3,000s.
Let's go. We need to buy a new laptop.
All right, then, guys.
Later.
Later.